Welcome to Waiting for the Invitation, a space where we can wait together. Patiently, of course. Hi everyone, I'm Olivia Louise, and I am your host of Waiting for the Invitation. I am a fellow 6'2" split definition emotional projector, and today we're diving into a topic close to my heart, navigating emotional authority as a projector. If you have ever felt torn between saying yes to something right away or needing time to process, you're not alone. Emotional authority is one of the most common authorities in human design and for projectors. It comes with its own set of unique challenges and gifts. So grab your tea, settle in, and let's explore the beauty of emotional clarity. So part 1, what is emotional authority? Let's start with the basics. In human design, your authority is the inner compass you rely on to make decisions. If you have emotional authority, your decisions aren't meant to be made in the moment. Instead, they come through the process of riding your emotional wave, moving through the highs, the lows, and everything in between until you reach that clarity. Think of it like surfing. You don't jump off the board the second a wave starts building. You ride it. You let the motion carry you, and when the wave settles, you know where you stand. That's exactly how emotional authority works. For projectors, this can feel tricky because we're designed to be invited and recognized. And that invitations don't always wait for where we are in our waves, or the invitation itself can create the wave, which we have to ride to find clarity about it. When the invitation comes, we feel this pressure to respond immediately, and that can feel overwhelming because we feel that old worry of, what if I don't get another one? But the key to making aligned decisions is waiting for emotional clarity and trusting that time is your ally. Don't worry about asking for more time or saying no if they won't honor that requirement, because an opportunity that you are specifically designed for will come your way that much faster because you are actually magnetizing yourself for the aligned person, invitation, or opportunity. It can feel incredibly daunting to request more time when a new invitation appears, especially projectors who are hardwired to wait for the right opportunities. There's often a sense of urgency or fear that if you don't jump immediately on whatever is shown up, it could slip away and never return. That internal pressure can create anxiety because on some level, projectors are deeply aware that life is not about constant initiation, but rather about being recognized and invited in. So when an invitation does appear, there's this lingering worry that it might not be, or that it might be the only one, and asking for time to think about it could jeopardize it. This fear can be compounded by the sometimes sporadic nature of invitations themselves. This can lead to projectors to feel like they must act now or risk missing out. However, it's essential to remember that the right invitations will respect your process. Your true allies, be they people, opportunities, or projects, they are going to allow you the space and time for your unique clarity to unfold. This is especially true for projectors with an emotional authority, who thrive when they ride out their emotional wave before making a commitment. Your authority's timing is non-negotiable. Rushing or ignoring it only creates resistance and regret later on. The right invitation will naturally wait for your full participation, and typically it's much better to enter with solid certainty than to leap prematurely out of fear. Trusting in this process means understanding that invitations align with your path can't pass you by. When an opportunity is genuinely correct for you, it will remain open long enough for you to achieve emotional clarity. It's not about scarcity, it's about resonance. By honoring your authority, you not only respect yourself, but also signal to the universe that you are ready for opportunities that match your energy and purpose. In doing so, you'll find that you will never really miss out on the correct invitations. They come around or stay open precisely because they are meant for you. The nuances of the emotional wave. Now let's dive into the nuances of the emotional wave. You've probably noticed that no two people feel their emotions in exactly the same way, and that's the beauty of this energy center. Even so, there are a few common patterns or waves that can help you understand your own process better. By recognizing which one you are in your birth chart, you are going to be better equipped to ride the highs and lows of your emotional authority without getting swept away. The first circuit that I'm going to talk about is the tribal wave. This wave is rooted in connection and support. It can feel like a buildup of emotion followed by a release, especially when issues of loyalty, trust, or community are involved. The tribal wave often builds slowly, rooted in themes of support, responsibility, and loyalty within close relationships or communities. Emotions may surge when agreements feel imbalanced, prompting a push and pull dynamic that revolves around fulfilling mutual needs. You'll recognize it by the increasing tension tied to whether people are holding up their end of the bargain, culminating in a release or confrontation. This wave can feel both grounding and pressurizing at the same time as it demands clarity on who is in and who is out of the tribe. After the tension subsides, there's typically a renewed sense of commitment or a call to realign boundaries and agreements. Next, we have the individual wave. This one is highly personal and creative. It can feel like a sudden emotional high or a sudden low, and it doesn't always have an obvious cause or external trigger. It's experienced as a deeply personal inner process, often marked by bouts of creative melancholy or seemingly random surges of joy. You'll notice it by the spontaneous shifts in mood that may catch you and those around you off guard. This wave pushes individuals towards self-discovery and transformation, with each peak or valley bringing fresh insights. In time, it naturally resolves on its own, making space for the next wave of inspiration and introspection. Lastly, we have the collective wave. This wave often involves patterns and cycles. With emotions building gradually before they peak and decline, it climbs gradually, accumulating emotional energy through shared experiences and perspectives before sharply dropping. It can feel like a building sense of anticipation, rising hopes or excitement, followed by a sudden crash into disappointment or sadness. You'll recognize it by these cyclical peaks and troughs, which often inspire group processing and storytelling. This wave is driven by the desire to gather and share lessons, so there's a distinctly communal feel to its ebbs and flows. Once the energy is released, it resets and begins building again, propelled by new experiences that eventually get woven into the collective narrative. Do you notice that you naturally resonate with your particular emotional wave? Or do you notice if you have two or more channels defined in your solar plexus that one wave seems stronger than the other? Understanding these nuances can make a huge difference in how you track and honor your emotional process. By keeping a daily journal, noting not just the highs and lows, but also what precedes them, creative endeavors, group interactions, or moments of conflict. You might also try a simple mood meter to rate your feelings throughout the day, helping you pinpoint exactly when and why your emotions shift. Over time, you'll see patterns emerge that reveal which wave is dominant and when clarity is most accessible, allowing you to better align with your decisions with your natural emotional rhythm. So we have 7 gates in the solar plexus, and we're now going to discover how they shape your emotional authority if you have a defined channel there. Each gate carries its own distinct energy and themes, influencing not only the type of wave you experience, but also how you make decisions. And as we move through the tribal, individual, and collective gates, notice what resonates with you and how it might apply to your own emotional process. Let's begin with the tribal gates, which revolve around mutual support, loyalty, and maintenance of close bonds. These gates often intensify when obligations or agreements feel out of balance, highlighting the need for fair exchange in relationships. The first is Gate 6, the gate of conflict and intimacy. This energy governs emotional boundaries and the delicate dance between closeness and separation. It's part of the 59-6 Channel of Emoting, connecting the solar plexus to the sacral center and emphasizing themes of intimacy and reproduction. Because it sits in tribal circuitry, Gate 6 draws your attention to bonding, support, and family dynamics, and you may find clarity through resolving emotional conflicts and understanding when to move toward or away from others. The second tribal gate is Gate 37, known as Harmony. This energy focuses on nurturing emotional security and creating agreements that uphold a very supportive environment. It's part of the 4037 channel of community, bridging the solar plexus to the heart/will center to foster communal bonds. Again, we see the tribal circuitry in action, prioritizing familial and group support. Clarity here emerges when you address emotional needs and cultivate spaces where everyone feels valued and cared for. The final tribal gate is Gate 49, aptly called Principles. This gate brings revolution, moral boundaries, and a keen sense of justice into your emotional realm. It belongs to the 1949 channel of synthesis, linking the solar plexus to the root center, and it underscores your willingness to commit emotionally when your values are upheld. As part of the tribal circuit, Gate 49 highlights the need for protection and fair treatment within the group. You'll find clarity by evaluating whether choices align with your personal standards and the collective principles you hold dear. Additionally, the sun is in Gate 49 right now until Wednesday the 12th, which amplifies these themes on a very collective level this week. During this transit, you may feel prompted to question outdated agreements or group loyalties, stand up for your principles, and reevaluate whether your commitments still honor your deepest values. This gate is really about almost revolution, about realigning ourselves, evolving to our highest held standards and beliefs. So then after the tribal gates, the 37, 6, and 49, we have the individual gates, which is 22 and 55. These emphasize self-expression, creativity, and the unique pulse of our personal emotional wave. The first here is Gate 22, called the Gate of Grace. This gate carries a charm and sensitivity that can manifest in artistic or emotional expression, especially since it's part of the 1222 channel of openness, connecting the solar plexus to the throat. Because it lives in individual circuitry, Gate 22 is all about personal insight and transformation, often fueled by moods. You might find clarity through spontaneous emotional releases or bursts of inspiration that allow you to convey something profoundly authentic. Then we come to Gate 55, known as the Gate of Abundance. This gate underscores emotional richness, trust in life's flow, and the power of bracing your moods rather than resisting them. It lies in the 3955 channel of emoting, linking the root center to the solar plexus, which amplifies emotional intensity. Staying true to the individual circuits theme, Gate 55 invites you to deepen your self-awareness and surrender to your emotional wave. Often, the clarity you seek arrives only after you've honored those highs and lows, trusting that abundance will reveal itself in the right moment. This is when I'd like to share a little bit of my own experience with the 3955 Channel of Emoting, since this is my channel, which is the foundation of my emotional authority. This channel creates a strong link between my root center's pressure to act and the solar plexus's emotional depth, meaning my wave can swing dramatically in response to both internal states and external triggers. Because it's part of the individual circuit, it highlights personal transformation, empowerment, and creative expression. For me, clarity never comes through logic or linear thinking. It just arrives when I let the wave flow, experiencing every part of the emotional journey. The creative processing really helps with understanding this wave, and it's a key to understanding what I truly feel and what truly feels aligned. If you share this channel, know that your emotions are a very powerful guide. And by respecting the wave's timing, you'll make decisions that resonate with your authentic self. Those extreme highs and lows can feel really intense when they're happening, but there's just a very deep creativity to them too. So by learning to honor them and to know that when I'm feeling them, it's a good time to get creative, whether it's just journaling, but just expressing that energy really helps the wave flow. And then I can reflect back on that creativity during the highs and lows and see where I was at each point and kind of find a balance between them to see how I truly feel about something. The emotional authority is really just about balance, about riding our waves and seeing that calm water, or using moments of calm and clarity to really check in with ourselves and see how we are truly feeling about the decisions that we've made in our life, about the invitations we've accepted, the people we've accepted, and knowing that in those moments of clarity, it is okay to change some decisions if we need to. Because a lot of us haven't learned how to make decisions based on our emotional waves. So we tend to say yes to a lot of things we don't want to, or things that are not exactly aligned with us. I mean, we're not like splenic emotional authorities where we just get a hit and we know deep down this one's just so much more nuanced. It's a lot more subtle, so it takes time and a delicate touch almost, and patience to really discover how we're truly feeling. It's kind of funny because even though outwardly I think we maybe present as very emotional and we can feel deep, beautiful emotions, or we can be emotional. I mean, I know that for me personally, I don't really even, like, I know I'm a very emotional person, but I'm so comfortable with my emotions that I almost feel detached from that emotionality. And I don't actually know how I'm truly feeling, if that makes sense. Like, how I'm truly feeling is really on the bottom of my highs and lows, but actually to get in touch with that is quite difficult and takes patience and discipline. So even if I present outwardly emotional, it's kind of like my wave where a moment later I'm just like, oh, well, I'm not emotional about that anymore, and it's not as big of a deal as it was, and that can be really confusing for the people around you, especially non-emotional people who are trying to process what's going on. So now we'll talk about the collective gates. And this is gate 36 and gate 30. And these emphasize the shared experiences. shared learning, and progress for the greater good. Gate 30, referred to as desire, this deals with intense emotions, passion, and a hunger for new experiences. It's part of the 4130 channel of recognition, linking the root to the solar plexus, driving you forward. Emotional intensity is also tied to collective discovery, and clarity emerges once you fully process these peaks and learn to let go of rigid expectations, making room for genuine insight. The last gate we'll talk about is gate 36, connecting to the throat, and it is known as the gate of crisis. And this stirs up the energy of adventure, uncertainty, and transformation through emotional turbulence. The channel, the 3536 channel, is called the Channel of Transitoriness. Transitory. And this is going to propel you towards experiential growth. In true collective style, Gate 36 pushes you to embrace challenges as catalysts for evolution, both personal and communal. You'll often reach clarity only after weathering emotional storms and coming out on the other side with new wisdom. As you reflect on which gate and channels are activated in your chart, keep in mind how they shape your emotional rhythms and decision-making processes. The more you understand the interplay of these energies, the easier it becomes to trust your wave and find clarity in the timing that's right for you. Tools for navigating emotional authority. Now that we've explored the emotional wave and the gates that shape it, let's turn our attention to some practical strategies that can help you navigate emotional authority with greater ease. Think of these as different pathways you can choose when you feel the pressure to make a decision. By experimenting with each tool, you'll discover which ones best support your unique process. The power of waiting for clarity. One of the most essential tools for anyone with an emotional authority is the simple act of waiting. Whenever you receive an invitation or a request, try resisting the urge to respond immediately. Instead, give yourself permission to say, "Let me think about it," and take the time that you need to sit with your emotions. This may feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to making quick decisions, but waiting is what allows the emotional wave to settle. When you finally move forward, you do so from a place of confidence rather than impulse or fear. Tracking your wave. Another invaluable practice involves keeping a journal or using an app to map out your emotional states over days or weeks. Think of this as creating a visual record of your moods, moments of enthusiasm, times of neutrality, or periods of doubt about a particular decision. Over time, patterns will emerge, and you'll notice when your emotions level out. Often a sign that you've reached true clarity is that emotional leveling out, where you just feel very neutral about everything. If you like a color-coded system, use green for high points, yellow for neutral, and red for low points. This simple method can be surprisingly illuminating, revealing the natural rhythm of your unique wave. Meditation and breath work. Emotional authority can be overwhelming, especially during the peaks and valleys of your wave. Grounding practices such as meditation, breath work, or spending just a few minutes in mindful silence can help you find steadiness. Even a short 5-minute session where you focus on your breath can shift you from reactive mode to a more reflective state. In this calmer mindset, it's easier to observe your feelings without being consumed by them. Over time, this can become a daily habit where you just take 10 to 15 minutes for yourself to sit silently. You can look up a breathing exercise online to do, or just you might already have a meditation practice. and this can help you ride the wave instead of drowning in it. Communicating your process. An often overlooked tool is simply letting those around you know that you operate on emotional timing. If friends, family, or colleagues understand that you make decisions after processing your emotional wave, they're more likely to give you the space that you need. The next time someone asks for a commitment, consider saying, "I don't make decisions on the spot. I need time to feel this through." Another great sentence that I use a lot is, "Let me get back to you." My phone is blowing up. Sorry about that. And I'm going to have to get back to them. But, so, verbalizing that you need time to think to make a decision, it is not everybody's norm, so it can feel really weird to do at first. But it is very important. And over time, people will start to know this about you, and it'll be just normal for them. And they'll start to understand. People don't know your experience or what you're going through if you don't communicate with them. So this is actually really huge, because you don't even have to say, well, according to my type in human design, because sometimes that comes off wrong to people or rubs people the wrong way. Of course, not other human design nerds. We love that, but it just keep it simple, keep it easy, and keep it professional, and more than likely or not, people will start to respect you for that. And especially the right people that are meant to be in your life, they'll give you respect for this. When clarity isn't perfect, it's also important to remember that emotional clarity doesn't always arrive like a lightning bolt, or when you really need it to, or you really want it to. Sometimes you reach a place of peaceful resolve, even if a sliver of you is still uncertain. Trying to wait for absolute certainty, this can lead to endless hesitation. I know that I've definitely been guilty of this, is I want that clear feeling about something, but the best is I can do is make a very level-headed pros and cons list and pick the logically best decision when I'm feeling emotionally calm. So instead, pay attention to the moment when your emotional intensity levels out. That gentle equilibrium usually signals that you've reached enough clarity to move forward, even if part of you still has questions. Trust that your emotional wave will continue guiding you if any adjustments are needed. Express yourself creatively. Because emotional authority invites you to experience the full depth of your feelings, creative expression can become a powerful release valve. Journaling, painting, playing an instrument, writing poetry, any form of creativity that can help you process your emotions and uncover hidden insights. Personally, I find that putting my thoughts on paper when I'm confused or overwhelmed creates a sense of relief. Once the tension is out of my head and onto the page, clarity often comes more naturally. Experiment with different creative outlets and notice which ones allow you to feel most at peace with your wave. The grounding influence of nature. Never underestimate the power of reconnecting with nature. Simply stepping outside, breathing fresh air, or sitting under a tree can ground you in the present moment and provide a calmer space for self-reflection. Nature has a way of helping us remember that our emotional wave is just one rhythm among many, reminding us to trust in the natural ebb and flow of life. Whenever you feel overwhelmed, try taking a walk or finding a quiet spot outdoors to just be. You might be surprised by how quickly your breath deepens, your mind quiets, and your emotions begin to settle. Tarot. Tarot is a wonderful tool that I personally use a lot to help clarify my emotional wave. It acts as a mirror for your current energy. So even if you are uncertain about its accuracy or mystical aspects, the ritual of pulling cards and contemplating their meanings can be incredibly soothing and can kind of show what you're feeling in the moment or where you're at. Consider doing a tarot reading during each phase of your emotional wave and then journaling about what comes up. Often this process itself, it slows you down, it invites you to look deeper, and it helps you see your situation from a fresh perspective. Over time, you may notice that the cards become less about predicting your future and more about reflecting your inner state, which would be the goal of this exercise. At each point of your wave, you can pull a tarot card and then journal about it, and then you can reflect back on what you were feeling about a particular decision. Astrology can also offer a unique lens through which our moods, challenges, and opportunities are affected by the planets. And so by observing planetary transits or examining your own birth chart, you can kind of see if something significant is happening in your birth chart, which may connect with how you're feeling. I know that this is very true for me, where if I'm feeling a very certain heavy energy, I'll look up at my birth chart and the transits, and usually there is something going on that does correlate with how I'm feeling. And this can be a very useful tool too, to kind of depersonalize how I'm feeling, or kind of take the charge away. And then I can actually use that energy to help myself move through the situation or gain more clarity and insights. So make sure that you don't rush your process. One of the biggest hurdles with emotional authority is the pressure, internal or external, to give an answer right away. We already talked about, if you're feeling tension around a decision, to communicate that you need more time with it. And also, it's natural to love our emotional highs when everything feels exciting and full of possibility. But we also need to tune in with our emotional lows and not avoid them, mask them, or deny them. These are also very valuable information. And a core part of the emotional authority is not to overthink or overanalyze, aka getting stuck in your own head. Too much analysis can turn into procrastination and decision paralysis. This is an invitation to not feel a sense of guilt or shame for not giving immediate answers, particularly in a culture that celebrates hustle and rapid responses. You can rapidly communicate with someone, but you don't need to rapidly give them a yes or a no. So shift your perspective and view of your need for time as a strength, not a weakness. By honoring your design and waiting for emotional clarity, you make more aligned decisions, which benefits not only you, but also the people who rely on you. This is the ultimate form of self-care and true self-awareness. By staying mindful to these potential pitfalls and using your wave as a guide, you'll set the stage for decisions that feel genuinely right. Always remember that the emotional authority is a beautiful gift that ensures that you're not only giving your energy to what truly resonates with your soul, but you are also living your design the way that it was meant to be lived. Lastly, I want to talk about 2027. because emotional authority projectors are going to play a major role in 2027. In the human design community, a lot of people speak of this major energetic shift that is going to be happening in 2027. And this is a time when the Solar Plexus Center is said to complete its mutation, evolving from a purely motor-driven energy into a more refined awareness center. According to Ra Uruhu's original transmission and subsequent teachings, the shift will bring heightened sensitivity to emotions and a deeper need for authentic emotional expression. For those with emotional authority, especially projectors, this represents not only an intensification of the emotional wave, but also a remarkable opportunity. As the collective moves away from old infrastructures and tribal agreements, individuals and small networks will increasingly look to self-aware guides for leadership and insight. Projectors, by design, are here to guide the energy of others, and with the emotional authority becoming more sensitive and perceptive post-2027, emotionally defined projectors can step more powerfully into their role as leaders and advisors. In our cosmology, the shift is also linked to the transition from the cross of planning to the cross of the sleeping phoenix. We have been in the cross of planning since 1615, and this has governed most of our societal structures, focusing on large-scale cooperation, community resources, and communal agreements. Think healthcare systems, education, and global alliances. But in 2027, that background frequency is going to begin to dissolve, paving the way for the cross of the sleeping phoenix. A frequency rooted in individual empowerment, self-discovery, and personal responsibility. With less external scaffolding available, people will need to rely more on their own inner guidance and the wisdom of trusted guides. Emotionally defined projectors, in particular, will be well suited to fill this gap, offering clarity and direction that arises from a profound sensitivity to the evolving emotional landscape. This heightened emotional frequency is also expected to bring an even deeper sense of empathy and introspection. Rather than suppressing or ignoring emotions, society as a whole may come to value emotional depth and self-awareness. For those with emotional authority, the wave may become more nuanced or intense, but it will also hold greater potential for insight. When you ride the wave with patience, honoring your highs and lows and waiting for clarity, you'll discover that the emotional surge can be a powerful tool for connecting with others in a more heartfelt way. This deeper connection is exactly what the post-2027 world will crave as it moves away from purely mechanical systems of support towards networks built on genuine resonance. Ultimately, the role of the emotionally defined projector will be to lead by guiding, not by force or top-down authority, but by recognition and invitation. As the planet shifts towards the cross of the sleeping phoenix, your emotional clarity becomes an essential lighthouse for those struggling to adapt. By fully embracing your emotional authority and learning to trust its timing, you show others how to navigate their own internal landscapes. In this new era, leadership won't be about controlling resources or wielding power. It will be about standing confidently in your own truth, offering wisdom that resonates at the heart level, and helping people find their own path in a rapidly changing world. Through this, emotionally defined projectors can step into a profound responsibility and privilege, guiding humanity towards a future where authenticity and emotional awareness are not just valued, but vital. This heightened emotional awareness is going to become the new norm in a post-2027 world. And those who are innately tuned to both their own and others' emotional landscapes, particularly emotionally defined projectors, will find themselves uniquely poised to provide the depth of compassionate nuanced leadership that our times desperately call for. In a world grappling with economic upheaval, environmental crises, and social fragmentation, genuine empathy and deep listening can bridge divides where logic alone falls short. By sensing the emotional undercurrents that fuel conflict or disconnection, projectors can guide conversations towards greater understanding and healing. Their ability to validate, reflect, and gently direct others' emotional energies can help communities come together in innovative and cooperative ways. In this post-2027 landscape, emotional sensitivity will not be a weakness. It will be a cornerstone of leadership that unites, heals, and fosters a more sustainable and interconnected global society. We can create a new society where it is based on making people feel good and to help people embrace more positive emotions. And to be more empathic and in touch with other people's emotions. So, to conclude, navigating emotional authority as a projector is about patience, trust, and honoring your individual process. It is not about striving for perfection, but about embracing the beauty of waiting for emotional clarity and making decisions that are aligned with your truth. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Waiting for the Invitation. I hope that you found this discussion hopeful and full of insights you can apply in your daily life. If you have stories, questions, or experiences you'd like to share about your emotional authority, I'd love to hear from you. Reach out to me on waitingfortheinvitation@gmail.com. In the next episode, it will be Valentine's Day, so we will dive into how to use your projector's spidey senses in relating to others to help communicate with manifestors, manifesting generators, reflectors, generators, on what language can you use to better communicate with the people that you love in your life. All right, have a great rest of your week and many blessings to you.